Malawi, camera.
Well, the National Assembly there winding up its business in the 2025-2026 budget meeting in what we would call an emotional moment. There has been an electric mood in the House, characterized by moments of shared respect and adoration. Well, we go to the summary of the business for the day. The House started its deliberations with statutory reports, and that was under government business, where we have seen the Ministry of Justice lay at the table 5 statutory reports. Among them was a report of the Law Commission on the review of the Public Health Act, and the House then waived all relevant standing orders for reports to just be laid on the table instead of presenting them as per tradition. The House then moved to laying on the table of delegation and committee reports, where parliamentary committees on industry, trade and tourism, transport and public infrastructure are among those that laid their reports on the table. Under general business, the House went into questions on notice to ministers for oral replies, where Ministry of Transport and Public Works took questions from Zomba Sondole, Machinga South and Kasungu West, among others. Being the last day of sitting in the first meeting of Parliament, that's the first meeting in the 51st session, both leaders of the House and leader of opposition gave their adjournment remarks, which in a way give a picture of how business was conducted during the sitting. During the 8 weeks of sitting, the House has so far deliberated on business as follows. The House managed to pass 18 bills, and 6 pieces of subsidiary legislation were laid at the table. We also saw a total of 54 questions on notice to ministers for oral replies, and one of these 54 questions was Understanding Order 69, as well as 2 matters of urgent public importance. We also saw the House tackle committee and delegation reports. These were 2 committee reports, as well as the House adopted 8 committee reports and 6 delegation reports. Meanwhile, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Right Honorable Catherine Kotanhara, MP, has adjourned the House, signed die, in other words, indefinitely. We will be right back after this. Stay tuned.
Madam Speaker, 1,684. That is the number of days that I have passed since that crisp July morning on which I was inaugurated as the 6th President of the Republic of Malawi, on our motherland's 56th birthday. On that historic day, I told the Malawian people that despite our victory over the dark forces that had stolen an election from them, the task they had given me as president to correct the decades-long mismanagement of our natural and national treasures and institutions would require all of us to endure what I called, quote, the pain of systemic surgery if we ever want to enjoy wholeness as a nation, end of quote. Today, it is clear that the systemic surgery we have undergone in the past 4 years has indeed been painful. In 2020, it was painful to some in the trucking business when I declared that I would focus on bringing Malawi's dead river system back to life. That same year, it was also painful to some, Madam Speaker, when I declared that my administration would open a diplomatic mission in Israel to restore our lost friendship with a great friend of our people. And in 2021, again, it was painful to some when my administration gazetted and enforced an SME order to reserve some government contracts for local and Malawian-owned businesses, thus drying up the profits of those who had been profiting from giving most of those contracts to a few Asian businesses. That same period, it was painful to some when I decided to take a huge sum of money meant for healthy Malawians in some sectors and used it to save many thousands of Malawians sick from COVID, which had already killed over 1,000 people in a single month, including members of this House and senior members of my cabinet. And later that year, it was painful to some when I signed and enforced a new Employment Act to ensure that those who treat Malawian laborers like property would face consequences, just as it has been painful to many employers that I have twice raised the minimum wage so that it is now triple what it was when I took office.
An extract of the President of the Republic of Malawi, His Excellency Dr. Lazarus Makathi Chakwera, delivering his swana in Parliament on the 14th of February 2025, marking the beginning of the just ended 2025-2026 budget meeting of Parliament.
Malawi, camera.